All right, boom. And we are live. I want to thank everyone for tuning in to a very special edition of Off the Record on the People's Podcast this afternoon. We have an incredible guest with us today, back for a part two. She's going to give us some amazing information as well as inspiration, and that is none other than Sister Carmen Muhammad. Assalamu alaikum, ma'am.
Walaikum salam, sir.
This means a lot to myself, my family, and the viewing audience of the People's Podcast that you would take time out of your busy schedule to come let us know your history and give us insight on the history and the current state of the Nation of Islam as well. For those who didn't know, last Sunday we did a great interview, but there was some Wabash Wi-Fi issues. There were some low-end Wi-Fi issues that we are now resolved from Chicago. So,
No.
so you're in here. All right, let's go. This is the Carmen. We're going to recap very shortly for people who didn't see the first interview.
Okay.
This is a third generation member of the Nation of Islam. How does that feel?
It feels amazing, especially in a time like today, to be a part of something for so many generations and be able to have certain history and knowledge and wisdom that you can just, ask your mom, ask your grandma, my grandfather when he was still living, may Allah be pleased with him. It's a wonderful tool and it serves a great purpose, especially with me now having children and our family having 4 generations. Rabia and Raja have a wealth of knowledge and experience and things about the nation going all the way back to the first, when the Honorable Elijah Muhammad was here. My grandfather was honor guard for the Honorable Elijah Muhammad. So that is, to hear him speak about it it does something to you. And then, to continue that. And I'm just thankful that my grandparents came back, after the fall of the nation, after the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that they chose the right path and coming back for the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan, because that's what the Honorable Elijah Muhammad, that's where he guided us. And so it's wonderful to be a part of that type of lineage, to be a part of that type of legacy where, you have grandparents that were with the Honorable Elijah Muhammad and the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan. And then you have parents that continued and now, myself, and I hope Allah blesses, our next generation and the generations to come. So it's amazing.
Beautiful. All praises to Allah. And Sister Lorraine says, beautiful. Praise family. Assalamu alaikum, family. Salam. My sister Miriam says, ASA family. Hey, y'all. Alaikum salam, Mimi.
Mimi.
Okay, great. Can you give us your grandparents' names, starting with your grandfather?
My grandfather was Brother Reginald Muhammad, and my grandmother is Sister Gail Muhammad. And then Brother Shahid's parents, Sister Aisha Muhammad and Brother Charles.
Wonderful. Yes, ma'am. Okay, well, let's talk about your father, the man who any credit I get to do anything mathematical, I got to give him. My mom's like, you got to go see the math doctor. Like, these rays ain't hitting the MUI. His brain, his thinking in a mathematical way. Did you get that? Are you into math like he is or no?
I don't know anybody that's into math like he is, but I do feel that I'm analytical like he is, but I don't know. I have 2 amazing parents. I have a mother that's analytical as well. But I do think that I take a lot from my dad in the way of his thought process, as far as just math and And really I took more so towards the business aspect and things like that. So yeah, I am like him. I'm very frugal with things. I'm um, very in tune with what is best financially and things like that. So yeah, I would say a huge part of the woman that I've become definitely had a lot to do with my dad. He was a teacher. He at MUI, not math. I never had him for math. I had him for science, which is crazy. But definitely he helped get me through those college years and some other things just by simplifying math for me. I would go and sit in someone's university for an hour and not understand nothing that they said. I come home and show him what we're working on within 10 minutes. I'm like, why didn't they just say that? I wish everybody would just teach like this. It's so simple. He just simplifies anything dealing with math. And to this day, certain things, when I'm getting ready to test for like pharmacy, when I was getting ready to do my continued education and recertification and things like that. I'm like, okay, Dad, look, is this right? Tell me, is this correct? But he's excellent, and I'm grateful that my daughter has him as a math teacher right now, and he's been tutoring her for the last year, and she's doing great in math. So I'm happy that we have him.
All praise due to Allah. Beautiful. And my sister Naima says that's making family. And thank everyone who's showing love all across the country. Can't wait to put this on YouTube. Okay, let's come to your mother. So can you let everyone know who your mother is for us?
My mother is Sister Patrice Muhammad.
Excellent.
Dr. Patrice Muhammad.
Yes, ma'am. Now, what every time I see your mother, she's always, functioning very well, doing her medical stuff. They got the green thing going. They working in the Ministry of Health. Did you ever want to go do anything with health in that sense?
Absolutely. My growing up, the entire time, I wanted to be a neurosurgeon or an obstetrician. And initially, when I went to school, when I went to college, that was, my major was for like pre-med or applied sciences. So, yeah, I always wanted to be a doctor. And I think my years when it was time for me to go to college and stuff, my mom wanted me to go to Cuba. She wanted me to go to the medical program there. And I don't know what it was, but I got cold feet. I was like, no, I'm not going over to Cuba. Y'all talking about needing toilet seats and bare necessities. I was like, oh, I don't know about that. So I've always enjoyed and excelled in sciences. In human anatomy, physiology, all of the courses in college, I was blowing them out. It's something that comes natural to me, something that I do love to do. And, even though I chose a different path, even in that path, me becoming a manager and being over a pharmacy retail store, I still ended up in pharmacy a lot. I ended up getting my license and I ended up, taking a test to be nationally certified. And so I still kind of dabbled and, got back to that. So I mean, I still love it. I read different things about medicine and just healing of the body, especially when I was pregnant with Rabia. I learned so much just reading, just different things. It definitely is something that is there. It's like, yeah, if somebody told me, yeah, you could come and be a doctor today, you don't have to spend $300,000 to do so, I would do it.
Beautiful. All praises to Allah. And my sister Naima says, "Oh, that's beautiful." Speaking of your pregnancy, your first pregnancy, last time we spoke, you talked about me, your Wi-Fi was messing up, so I didn't have a chance to
It was
respond.
your Wi-Fi.
I didn't know that I was on a post when you came to see the minister. That time, you were pregnant. How important is it to have a man of God pray over your womb or pray over the baby?
Well, first I'll say I really didn't want to let the minister know that I was having this baby. Because it was out of wedlock. And so that's not something that is normally met with the man of God saying, I'm naming this, the name of this baby is going to be, the purpose of this child is going to be, I want to see this baby whenever you're in town. Because at the time, after I had Rabia, I moved to Maryland. So I could never put into words the importance of having a minister kind of be involved or even not having a judgmental perspective or feeling towards my child. And so it is an amazing thing, especially, most of us go our whole lives trying to figure out like, okay, what is our purpose going to be in life? As I said, I thought I was going to be a doctor. I was going to be a neurosurgeon, and then life happened and I went a different direction. So to have Jesus, name your child is such a blessing and an honor, especially, when you didn't do it right. I wasn't married. Rabia's father and I were together for a very long time, but we weren't married. And for him to then go further, like just giving the honor of giving the name is a major thing. But then for him to tell me what her purpose was to be, and then give me guidance on what I needed to watch out for her, that's invaluable. That takes all the guesswork out of your parenting. The only thing you have, it's like an equation. You have the solution, you have the answer, and you have a part of it. I mean, it's not much more left for me to do but to just follow directions and try to keep her on the path as well, so that she can be what he has foresaw her to be and become for our nation.
Beautiful. Praise be to Allah.
Thank you. My praise is due to Allah.
Okay, well, speaking of the circumstances of your marriage, of your first baby, right? So, Rabia, the minister's words, can you share some of those with us for sisters and or brothers who may be going through the same thing and need to hear those words?
Well, we never really discussed it.
Okay.
It was my grandmother, when I told, my grandma was saying, oh, she was working at the farm, of course, so she gets to see the minister, gets to see Jesus all the time, and decides, yeah, I'm gonna tell the minister, that little baby is coming. I'm like, oh no, don't do that. Don't tell him that. Don't say that. I'm not married. But she said, she kind of scoffed at it, like, how are we not gonna tell the minister that you're having a baby? Like, he's gonna have to know. So it was just a acceptance, where I know I was wrong. He didn't necessarily bash or beat or whatever. It was just uplifting, to know that your child is worthy, you're still worthy, you're still a loss. We all make mistakes. And I'm happy that, sometimes we do things to cover up one mistake. We may make a decision that's worse than the initial mistake. That could be in many forms, but I'm happy that I stayed the course and just, hey, if I was going to have to live with the shame, I was going to live with the shame, because to find out, everything that he said about her, what would the world be without her? What would our nation be without her? So I'm blessed that Allah still had mercy and grace, and a lot of that mercy and grace came through the Honorable Minister Louis Farrakhan for me.
Beautiful, beautiful. Yes, ma'am. So you're saying the minister didn't judge you?
No.
He didn't, yell at you?
I felt guilty all the time. It was me that was like, oh, but he's not, he's so kind. It's a feeling that is indescribable, because his kindness, his mercy, his grace, we do so many things. Think about how many things people do, that he loves us. He loves his people, period. He doesn't care, if you are a prostitute, if you are this or that. He just says we can't stay there once we know, and once we know, there's still grace and mercy from him if we make a mistake. He's always hurting us to Allah and telling us to ask for forgiveness and do better. It's always still time to do better. As long as there's life, as long as you're living, there's always an opportunity for you to make right and to get back on the right path.
Beautiful. All praise due to Allah. And my sister Mimi says a blessing, and my sister Naima says so many people need those words. Beautiful. Excellent. So sister,
All praises due to Allah.
okay. I forgot to ask you this time, last time, because of your Wow 100 Wi-Fi that was going off. I wanted to ask you about fear. Has there ever been a time where you were faced with fear? And if so, how did you overcome that fear?
Oh, a couple of times, plenty of times. I just described one, fear of, when you grew up in a nation, especially when you are a child that was born and raised in a nation, there's a certain fear factor that comes along with disgrace, and that's anybody, that's humans, period. If you're to a point where nothing can embarrass you and nothing can shame you, then there's no way that you can be trained or maintained by Allah. Because your self-accusing spirit should always be intact. Regardless of how far you go, you should still know that, oh man, this. So yeah, I was definitely fearful, one, to break it to my parents and my grandparents. And at this time, of course, I'm an adult, I'm an adult, I'm in my career, I have my own place, I take care of myself. I've been taking care of myself for about 3-4 years. But yes, I was very afraid to one, tell my family, and then two, to just be back around the believing family, to be back, around, the nation and different people. And, there's always a fear of, what's going to be said about you. And, for us to be such a messed up people, we are such a judgmental people. And so it kind of makes it difficult, when you're going through to figure out a life decision like this. I made a mistake, so do I continue and make another mistake so then nobody knows? I'm not knocking anybody that goes that route, because it's fear that would allow you to go that route. Fear of whatever the case may be. But I overcame it because I started to really strengthen my connection with Allah. And I mean that in a very literal sense. My pregnancy with Rabia was the eye opener that I needed to get me back on course. And you wonder, you're brought up with all of these things, you're given all of these tools and you have them, but then you don't really use them. And then you get in some kind of trouble. And now it's like, wait a minute, I have a whole arsenal over here. My pregnancy with Rabia really opened my eyes to a lot. I was with her father for so many years. And for the first time, I was able to say, nope. Even with his marriage proposal, I entertained it for a second. And then I was like, oh, no. I can't raise my daughter this way. I have to be strong. And it gave me the strength to do what I needed to do to bring her here. So I think, that's a lot of us. When we're in trouble, when we're afraid, when we're worried, when we're scared, we call on Allah. And that's exactly what I've done many times, in times of fear. It's like, let me strengthen this connection. Let me strengthen it. Let me maintain it. And that's one of the things that I constantly struggle with. I have to always ask Allah, please make me more steadfast in prayer. Make me more pleasing to you. Even when I'm doing, the minimum. Okay, we're doing our prayers, we're doing Ramadan, we're reading the Quran. I'm still asking him, because there may be a time where I fall short or I have a shortcoming. And I'm like, please just make me more steadfast in prayer and this and that. Bring me back to what I know I'm to do quicker, so it's not such a like, oh man, I missed this prayer. Well, I'll make it up. I missed this prayer. No. Bring me back quicker, because it's no reality without Allah. And so that's what helps me through a lot of my fear. I'm not saying that it's easy, because it's not. When you're, it's a lot of things that they'll have posted on Facebook, like, oh, if your faith isn't strong if you're worried because you just give it to God. Well, that's true to an extent, but we're human. So of course we worry about things. If you're in a situation, you're driving 100 miles an hour and you see those lights go on, I don't care how strong your faith is, it's gonna be a little bit of fear and worry. You might get out of it, but your initial reaction to things. And I think that the minister is an excellent example, because he's perfected his connection. He is connected. And so the rest of us are all striving to that. I know I certainly am. I'm not going to speak for everyone, but I think that we're all striving to that. And during your journey for that, Allah gives you certain signs and victories, and you're like, oh, I'm doing.
Yeah.
I'm coming up on it. I'm getting it. Allah is in my corner. That's a wonderful feeling when I've overcome so many things. It could only be Allah. It couldn't have been me. So that's how I try my best to overcome fear.
Beautiful. All praises to our excellent teachers, Sister Carmen. Brother Benny Magdi, Brother Benny Jr. says, Assalamu alaikum salam, family. Good to see you, brother.
Benny.
Okay, boom, perfect. My next question is, once the initial meeting with the Muslim Sis Farrakhan about your daughter, but you've been back so many times taking pictures, you know, is there anything that stands out that other people who may have never got to meet the minister can hear from him that you can share with us?
Well, I would say from the time that Rabia has been able to really talk and communicate with the minister on her own, which happened at a really young age, all praises due to Allah. I'm in there just because I'm her mom. That's it. I really will say the connection that he has with her and she with him, I don't have any part in that, you know. I used to ask her when we would go back there, you know, when she was younger, I would be closer. And so then at times he would say, "Where's my Rabia?" and want her to come over to him. So I gave that space. But I would ask my daughter, you know, I think she was, I want to say she was 5. And we went back to see the minister, and it was so many people in the room, and she was over there talking to him. And so I was intently, I was watching to try to see what was going on. And they were having like this whole conversation. And I'm like, I can't hear anything. I'm looking at my mom. I'm looking over there. I'm trying to hear like what's going on. And yeah, we took pictures afterwards, but she's having this whole conversation, and I'm seeing them go through so many emotions in a short period of time. You know, they're laughing with one another, and then, you know, it's a moment of seriousness and all it, and I'm just waiting. And so when we get out to the car, I'm like, "Oh, Rabia, what did he say? What did he say?" Like I'm trying to soak it up, because I would always ask her, you know, "What did he say?" And prior to that day, she would tell me, she would say, "Oh, well, the minister said, you know, X, Y, and Z." And this time, you know, I'm in the front of the car, and I'm turned around, and I'm like, "What did he say, Rabia?" And she's like, "Oh, Mom." And she's just smiling. And I'm like, "Oh, Mom, what did he say?" And you know, at that point, I kind of got it. She didn't say, "I'm not going to tell you." She just said, "Oh, Mom," you know, it's just like, "Oh, it's not for you." And then I asked her one more time, and she kind of just smiled. I don't even think she really responded that second time. She kind of smiled, and I said, "Okay, I get it. You know, whatever he is instilling in you and saying to you is for you. It's not for me. He's already given me my marching orders as to what I should be doing to bring into fruition what has been said." And so this connection that they have, you know, and the older she gets, and I'm just like, I don't ask. So I would say since the age of 6, I don't ask. Now, and she never offers. She never offers to say, "Well, he said this or he said that," you know. Raja, on the other hand, now that Raja is here, he'll, you know, when he goes over, I can kind of hear their conversation and what they're saying. But you know, I think that he would probably tell me, but Rabia does not. So that is for her and Jesus to know. And I'm okay with that. You know, it's okay. You know, I just brought you here, but I guess it's, you know, it's not for me to know. It's for her to know. She's intelligent enough she's old enough to understand what he's saying to her, because he has a way of speaking to everyone on the level that they are and elevating them to the level that they need to be. So I trust that she's getting the message loud and clear.
Oh, praise due to Allah. Excellent. Mimi says, this is such a blessing. The minister's divine love for children is priceless. And she said,
Yes,
Rabia said,
ma'am.
mind your businesses.
She did. Mind your business, lady.
Exactly. See, oh, you love your references. Oh, God, my goodness. Speaking of that, we have to come to a Nas, some kind of
The
Nas.
DMX, you know.
Yeah, exactly. I was like, all right, here we go. So hold on 1 second. Okay, Carmen. So we have a quick 60-second commercial break for all of the sponsors of the People's Podcast this month. And then we're coming right back to the Carmen. Here we go.
Wonderful.
Boom, boom, boom. Okay.
Brother Rashad Street Premiere. He has a 4K camera and a drone. He does television and film editing. Please reach out to him if you need any of those services. Sister Miriam's ABC I Love Me, children's book and coloring book, and now Spanish book. All three available on Amazon.com. Sister Naima's Stay on Point Dance Academy, LLC. She teaches ballet virtually to young girls all across the country, right here in the studios of Atlanta, Georgia. Rock Communications. If you're working on a book and you need copy, editing, project management, content development, or media relations, please reach out to Rock Communications. Student Minister Robert L. Muhammad's Conflict Mediation, squashing the beast throughout the Southwest region. He does a phenomenal job. His wife, Sister Fudia Muhammad's Giving Birth to a God and the Science of Child Rearing. Please make sure you go out and get a copy of her book as well. Fashion Gods, urban streetwear clothing for men and boys. 314-329-6009. He'll keep you dressed in the best of fashion. Brother Kenneth's Bow Tie Maker Extraordinaire. He'll ship you bow ties anywhere across the nation. Taj Hollywood's Chemistry 6 episode, a new television series out on YouTube. He's looking for actors and writers. Make sure you support him. Keep It Hood, helping others overcome depression. Also by Taj Hollywood. Brother Aaron's Elevated Places, stress management, real estate, credit, repair, and restoration. His Respect for Life Center. They do personal wellness, philosophy, emotional, and mental spiritual wellness. 229-344-1474. Dr. Henry Carter's King Henry Turkey Legs, right here in Atlanta, Georgia. Brother Rashad Muhammad's COVID-19 Disinfected Cleaning Services, out of Chicago. Student Minister Sharif Muhammad's book, A Soldier in the Movement of Christ, available on adulsharif.com. And lastly, Brother Joshua Muhammad's book, Cleopatra, as well as No Father, No Excuse, both available on Amazon.
Carmen, boom, here we go. All right, so now for everyone who didn't see part one, part two, we're dealing with the Vanguard, the history of the importance of the Vanguard on the young people, and then now you becoming a woman, and now the junior MDT and all of this kind of stuff. Why was the Vanguard so important to you?
Well, I think it was so important to me because it helped funnel and channel purpose. When you're growing up, especially in the nation, you're more than likely going to be on the militant side. And militant in the sense that, we're being taught a different teaching that most little girls aren't being taught. We have martial arts training, we're drilling, we're disciplined. We're in the military. That's what this is. And so the Vanguard to a little girl, you're growing up and you're seeing something that you're being taught, and you're seeing the outcome of that. When you get older, this is what you'll be, what you're aspiring to be. It's a captivating type of thing, especially if that's something that you enjoy, which I did. I come from a long line of soldiers. My grandmother, uh, I can't thank Allah enough for her. Her having me at the final call, and having me with soldiers, having me with Sister Ina and, Sister Jamila, Sister Aaliyah, Sister Patricia, who was the MGT captain back then, but also seeing the younger Vanguard, seeing Sister Ina and those, drilling, and it's just a different dynamic from the MGT. Of course, by the time I was born, my grandmother, I believe, was MGT. By then, I don't think she was in the Vanguard. But, once a Vanguard, always Vanguard. You Vanguard for life. So it was just important to me because it was something that I saw that just spoke to me. And then having soldiers around me like your mom and Sister Aisha, that was like, when you see them walk through, it's like, I'm gonna be like that. That's gonna be me. I'm next. So it was important because, one, it was a part of my lineage, and two, it's what I love, so it offered so many things. It wasn't just about being militant and looking crisp in a uniform. Your mom really pushed for education, of us. She wanted all of us girls to go off to college, to experience, education in different professions. And she really was saying, like, the sky's the limit. Do it. You want to be a doctor, do it. You want to be an attorney, do it. And it's okay to have a little fun on the way. Just don't compromise your Islam. But she wanted us to experience things outside of just MUI, our four walls, sports, different clubs, and even if you want to see how a fraternity or a sorority is, just experience, so you can be a well-rounded, balanced, spiritual soldier for Allah. And so that's why it was important to me, because I had people in front of me that carried a wonderful example. I look at your mom. She was Vanguard through and through, and she had all of you, and it didn't seem like it slowed her down one bit. I remember the first year that I kind of had that, she gave me a post. And it was a Savior's Day. I know it was in October, and I may have been 12. No, I'm pretty sure I was 12. And I had a post with, regular Vanguard, and we were going to sit. It was time for our relief. So we were going to sit and kind of relieve our feet a little bit before we had to report back to post. But I just remember her always having such a beautiful spirit. She would always say, look, we need to be efficient, while we search. We have to protect our leader. But we also need to be quick. It's sisters out here with babies. It's cold. We don't want our people in the weather and the element for so long. And so one main takeaway that I would have when she would have that post, when she would be at the check post, she would greet everyone so warmly and so beautifully that it would disarm someone who was pissed about being in line forever to get in to get searched. I mean, you have no choice but to be like, oh, alaikum salam. Okay, yeah, I just stood out here for an hour. I'm freezing cold, but she was so warm. And also, that's a major thing, how you treat God's people, how you treat one another. And being around her, I looked up to that. I never saw her in a foul mood, even if she was correcting something that wasn't right. It was never nasty. It was never belittling. It was never demeaning. It was never kind of a big eye, little you type of correcting. It was always with love and care. She took considerable care with how she spoke to people, and how she dealt with situations. And I saw that, and that was something that, that's a beautiful thing, to be able to just disarm somebody by being pleasant, even though you deadly. I mean, I'm gonna be pleasant. You want to act a fool, you're gonna be jammed up out of here real quick. But I'm gonna give you the benefit of the doubt. You're a lost people. You're my people. I love you. She really gave a lot of love, and it was just the whole aura that I would see around her and Sister Empress Aisha Muhammad. Their spirits are so beautiful. I love how they led, how they lead, and by example. It's not a do as I say, not as I do. They lived it. And so when when you're authentic in what you do and how you do it, and it's never any different for anybody, everyone is treated and greeted with love and respect and honor. That is very magnetizing to a child who is developing and coming into themselves and trying to gauge where they want to be, what mark they want to leave, and how they want to be as a woman. It's important to have strong parents and grandparents, but it's also important to have strong figures outside of that, because of course you love your grandmother, of course you love your mother, you want to be like them. But it's important for us to see a village as a whole. You don't want to just see greatness in your home. You want to see greatness in your nation. And this was that. So that is one of the reasons that it was so important for the Vanguard's influence. Also your mom did a lot of things, with Mother Tanetta. That it's nothing else to say beyond that. To have the spiritual aspect, along with everything that comes along with Vanguard training, and it was just a beautiful thing. The Mother Tanetta Fund, for girls going off to college, to school, to help assist with funding for school. That was a very important thing. With so many things that they did that it just made you want to be a part of that.
Beautiful. All praise due to Allah. Okay, and can't wait to put this on YouTube, Carmen. And okay, so I gotta go back to the comments. So Naima says yes, leading with love is so powerful. Yes, ma'am. Mimi says, when is Carmen going to join the ministry? You're teaching truth, Carmen,
Never.
appreciation, reflection. And my cousin Camilla says, Assalamu alaikum, salam, Camilla. Boom.
Salam, Camilla.
Okay, speaking of Camilla, Jimmy Vanguard, drilling, DIs, all of that kind of good stuff. With your daughter, do you ever say, this is how you drill, this is how you were DI, show your clips? Do you do that or no?
I do not. I do not want to influence her. And I don't know if it would influence her anyway. I don't want to steer her either way. I want her, if she has a love for drill all on her own. It's nothing that, except for my DNA, I didn't gear her towards that. I put her in ballet. And she's been doing ballet since the age of 2.
Okay.
And so she's always been very graceful and dainty. And did I do that maybe because all I knew was drill? I don't know. I mean, it's a possibility. I wanted to give her some other things. So tennis, violin, piano, other things that I necessarily wasn't really exposed to and didn't really want to be exposed to, because when it came to drill, I dropped everything. I was like, nah, that's all right. I guess I won't be playing that this year. No, that's going to interfere with drill time. I ain't going to be able to do that. So when Rabia came to me and expressed interest in wanting to be on the drill team and wanting to drill, it was like, I'm like, what? Yes, you got it. But no, to this day, I don't think I've ever shown her. Now, she's seen pictures of like Savior's Day, with our championship stuff and us in our uniforms, but I've never shown her a drill tape. Like, never.
What?
She's never seen a drill tape of me, calling or drilling back in the day. Never. Never. I don't know. I don't know what my hang up is on that. But yeah, I guess one day I'll sit down with her and say, okay, let me show you how it was done. All of this stuff that came from us. Y'all didn't have that at first, because the older thing, it was just regular Burgay slew. It wasn't all of this. My generation came up with. That's how how to do that now. But no, I really want her to choose her own path, and I want it to be her path and not what I push upon her. Except for, the things that I have to push on her, the things that are going to make her into the woman of God that I need her to be. Outside of that, I want it to be her choice. So yeah, it seems like she did gravitate towards drilling, and she loves watching a drill competition. She's like, what you think about that? So I love it because it's a passion of mine. So of course you want your child to kind of follow in your footsteps. Even if you don't want to push it on them, in the back of your head, you still kind of like, I hope my child loves what I love, So yes, I definitely think she came across that naturally. And then it's just one of those things. You're a nation, baby. You gonna drill. I mean, some of them love to drill and some of them don't like it so much. But, it's a 50-50 chance.
Okay, well, I got to tell you what Mimi and Camilla are going in the comments supporting you and saying, okay, so Mimi says, you're such a good mom. She's going to be so well-rounded. You got to show her the drill DVDs. Camilla says, definitely show her. Mimi says, it's time, ma'am. Then Camilla says, but she loves the many activities, love from one overextended mama to another. So mothers, sisters are saying, yes, you know, Rabia, drill, all the good.
Do it all.
Do it all. You know what I'm saying?
Do it all.
Play the piano, and I'm trying to think of your cadence. Man, you had a cadence, another cadence that you stole from us, another melody or something that you had took from us. You
Now
know,
wait a minute.
another one
I
of your
still no
another one of
cadence.
your robberies, another one of your
No, you must have
line.
stole it from me, and now you forgot what it was because you weren't the originator of it.
Oh my
Here we
goodness!
go. Here we go. Here we
Something that
go.
we did, because so many of the brothers were trying to impress the sisters, so they would give away our stuff to y'all, and I was like, what are y'all?
A lie.
I was like, what are y'all? Y'all don't have to do that.
A lie.
Oh.
You all were struggling. I remember those previous days where I was like, let me see your routine, Josh. What you got? I don't even think you had 30 seconds in.
Oh my
God. Come on, brother. We have our opening, our closing, our alternate closing, and y'all trying to get it together. Don't know what uniforms you go wear. Y'all just flying off the handle. Y'all need us.
There is a difference, absolutely, and we appreciate the support that we got from the well, when I was in why you were already in Vanguard, but it was like we appreciate the support because y'all had different color uniforms. With us, we was gonna wear suit and bow ties every year, and that wasn't the same. I'm like, y'all wearing white. Y'all got the blue with the name. Okay, y'all coming with the gold with the. We ain't have. It was like, what bow ties we wearing? You know what I'm saying? It wasn't.
Y'all could have switched up the star and crescent on the bow tie. Y'all could have get a color.
But even now, with Junior Vanguard now, it's the same thing. The Junior Vanguard, look how they look versus aesthetically with the Junior. You be like, look at them, they got the colors and the brothers. Like, we working on it. We working on it. We gonna get it. We gonna catch
Well,
up.
you know what? A nation can rise no higher than its woman. And I must say, when you think about drill competition and drill, the category that you really want to see is Vanguard. I'm sorry. I don't know what to tell you. I'm not being facetious. You know, of course I love seeing the FOI. I love seeing the FOI. But the main event is the Vanguard, is the Junior Vanguard.
Oh my goodness.
Look at how we look. You know, it is
a
main event.
It's nice.
It's a main event.
I don't know about that. No, I'm not subscribed to that at all. I'm not subscribed to that at all. But okay, but your mom says Rabia is going to get ready. She's starting voice lessons with the legendary songstress, Sister Lestine Warren Muhammad, so she can be boom, boom, you know, getting the voice on. I'm assuming she's ready to be a DI. Also, if she needs any other DI training, look no further than, you know what I'm saying? I can help her, give her assistance. Yes, because I trained Carmen, you know what I'm saying? I had to help Carmen plenty of times. She was getting scared backstage and was nervous about, you know.
It never happened. Not once. It never happened.
I remember one time April was crying. I said, April's wrong with you? She came, she's like, Carmen she got stage right. Can you come give her motivation?
Oh, like, oh man.
You already know.
Oh man. I gotta be careful because lightning might strike. All of this lying going on.
Okay, but Carmen, okay, so I have one more question for you. So no, last time we talked about your favorite music, and we already knew it was gonna be Nas' favorite album because you're Nas' biggest fan I've ever met. However, is there any comedy or things that you do to unwind when you're not in serious mama mode or stuff like that for fun?
Oh, that's funny. I don't know. People shouldn't think that I'm serious because I'm really not. I am all about comedy.
Mm-hmm.
And I don't know, I'm really kind of silly. So just different movies. Like I love movies, especially the greats. Like Harlem Nights is my favorite. I will watch that movie.
What year is this? Like this is 1955. So I'm like, what is Harlem Nights? Like, help me put me on.
Look,
Harlem Nights.
Watch it. You will laugh all the way through from the very beginning. That is hilarious to me. Why do you, I mean, that movie is such a classic, but that's me with a lot of movies. My dad is very funny. Brother Shaheed is something else. So he would have me and Shaheed, you know, my mom dying. I mean, that's like National Lampoon, just silly movies like that. That is our unwinding. You know, we are very funny, humorous kind of family. So yeah, I'm not really serious until I have to be. But even with my children are funny. They
Yes, I can tell. I can tell from social media. And your mom says "Coming to America." I think that's the funniest movie of all time for sure. You can't go wrong with "Coming to America."
yeah,
All right,
Harlem
good.
Nights was just funnier to me.
So I have to do some research on the Harlem Nights. That's with
With
who?
Eddie Murphy.
Okay, I'm not familiar. Look up
I don't
Harlem.
know how you don't remember that. That movie is funny. Richard Pryor, Eddie Murphy.
Okay, is it Sidney Poitier in there too? Like who's what's going on?
No, it's not that. Joshua, you keep acting like you so young. Okay, let the audience know you're older. You
Carmen,
always
because
try
I
to
don't
make me
know the
older
movie
than
that you
you.
know. I don't know the movie that you know. I'm trying to get a better understanding. All right. So our last question that we have for you, and once again, thank you and your parents and great lineage and the future of your children, is to the young people who they're going to watch these drill DVDs. They're going to watch tapes. They're going to see your parents and your dad teaching your moms and you. And it's history can get lost sometimes. It's like, oh, like how we look at something, we look up to these people. What advice would you give to people about just holding on, like to make it through?
You have to do it. Life is going to be a struggle no matter what. I mean, trials are ordained, and they're given to the best of us to overcome. I mean, you look at, for example, the minister has given so much to us, and yet he has still gone through so many obstacles and trials. Who would ever think that the minister and his doing all that he's done for us for so many years would go through the loss of a child? That's something that is Allah, of course, takes whom he pleases. But when it comes to you living beyond the life of your child, that's a trial that a lot of parents cannot overcome or are strong enough to overcome. You look at the prostate cancer, you look at, he has gone through so many things, yet he's still here, he's still shining, he's still bright, he's still able to offer us what we need to save us. So anybody young going through any trials or tribulations right now, I would just say gear up because they don't stop. You will overcome those by Allah's grace and mercy, and then you will gear up and get in battle form for the next one to come, and just keep overcoming them. And then every one that you overcome, it gives you a certain level of confidence. It's the same thing when we're in school, we're having difficulty. Think about when you're in kindergarten and you can't write this A right, and then you get that, and then now you're in first grade and it's something that you're doing there, and it's stages of life. Everything is set up that way, that you will, when you overcome one great obstacle, there will be another, and there will be levels, and it's going to continue. And I get it, it's very difficult, and sometimes it feels hopeless and helpless, and you frustrated. Get your cry out, do what you have to do, ask for strength from Allah, and keep moving. Just keep moving. You'll get through it. It's difficult, but you will definitely get through it. We all have. No one is here without great difficulty. Just ask somebody a little older than you. Ask somebody in their 80s. Ask somebody in their 60s. Ask somebody in their 90s, they're going to tell you all kind of stuff that you can't imagine going through. You know, me and my mother were just talking about the story of Emmett Till and how difficult that must. I mean, how do you it's bad enough to lose a child, but then you lose a child in that type of manner. And you have to be strong enough to become a world figure to show the world what is happening to your child. And then you have to move forward. Just know that someone is going through something much worse, so you can overcome what you're going through by Allah's grace.
Beautiful. And like my sister Miriam said earlier, Sis Carmen needs to go to ministry. Brother Roosevelt showing love, something like him, sir. Mimi says, Carmen, don't let me stress you out about the movie. And Camilla says, he'll let you do a top 5. He invited me on once and never be back again. Camilla, it's an open invitation for you to come on top 5. Sis Carmen, man. So you just dropping, you was just teaching. So now before my next interview at 7:00, I have to put some Nasir Jones on and reflect that.
Please do.
And I know I can be what I want to be, you know, because before we came to this country, we were kings and queens, never porch monkeys, whatever Nas was saying.
He didn't say nothing about porch monkeys.
I'm saying whatever Nas was talking about, it's like, listen, I'm
you know what? Go listen to the whole album. Go listen to the whole album. That's your homework.
It was written. I'm familiar, you know.
Still mad.
Hip hop is dead, you know, all that good stuff. Boom. And then Camilla said, come on, guys. Boom. And thanks to everyone who watched the People's Podcast. Carmen, seriously, I want to thank Allah for your sacrifice and the sacrifice of your family. 3 generations, now 4 generations with your children. May Allah forever bless y'all with, you know, more and more blessings. Man, I'm just excited that you took time to come on.
I want to thank you so much for having me. And I love you and your family as well. You know, even though you're a thief and you stole plenty of cadence, but I still love you. You know, I still consider you a very dear and best friend.
Absolutely.
And thank you so much for having me. It truly, truly was a blessing and an honor.
Absolutely. No wonder. And Carmen, I got 3 spots over here for Wall. So you're going to give me the Nas I Am album.
Yes.
You know, send me the album. You know what I'm saying? We'll get it up there.
Oh, let's do it.
Okay. All right. Thank you, everybody who's watching. Thank you, Dr. Sister Patrice. And thank you, Camilla. Thank you, Mimi. Thank you, everyone who's in the comments. Mimi says she loves y'all. Everybody's in a good mood. After Carmen just made a sad thing about Emmett Till. I don't know what's going on right now, but I gotta bring myself back up because. All right. This is Joshua Little Muhammad. Signing off for the People's Podcast. Assalamu alaikum, man.
Walaikum salam.